Welcome back, everyone, to our episode of Tax Talk with Hey Hey. I am your host, Suhey Piedra with Prominence Business. In our last episode, I talked about the IRS and fearing the IRS, but we don't have to fear the IRS if we are well prepared. I did mention, though, that when we are stuck in our business and we are just working and not working on our business, we tend to get sloppy, we tend to get messy, we don't have time to do the bookkeeping, we don't have time to keep all our receipts together, and we create really bad habits. So today I really want to talk about business owners and focusing on your business. So what does that really mean? When you work on your business, you're trying to graduate over to that true business owner quadrant that I've talked about before, where you develop processes, you hire people, you review your assets, you review your financials. And today I really want to focus on why that is important. Why is it important that we work on our business and not just in it? So I know it's not easy. I never said it would be. But when you have the right team behind you, what we want to do is we want to focus on guiding you in that direction and helping you see what you can't see when you're in it. So today's guest is a really good example of what a true business owner is. He spends time on working on his business. He hires people, develops processes, networks, and even has his own business coach. So I really would like to introduce you today to Adrian Avila with Avila Construction. Welcome to our podcast, Adrian.
Thank you, Suhey, for having me. It's an honor to actually be on here with you. And as she said, Adrian with Avila Construction. And, we started off as being the self-employed, I guess you can say, right? And where you're working in the business instead of working on the business. And a lot of people don't know, or they don't understand what the difference is, right? And when you're working in the business, you're actually there. Like in our case, we're out there in the field, putting our hands on the material, building it up, right? And then instead of working on the business where it's, okay, what do I got to do to get my projects done on in an adequate time, on budget, making sure my clients are happy, making sure everything falls into line, right? So working on the business is having the right team to help support you. Whether it's your guys on the field, whether it's your back office, whether it's your consultants, which I'll say I'm not the smartest person, but put me around the right people and I can have the greatest team behind me. And one of the biggest people to have behind you is someone in the accounting world, right? Someone who knows how to not tax prep, but more like tax planning. And that's what you guys do at Prominence. And being able to do that and working on the business, it helps you grow. So from where I was working in a small town of Diamond Bar and being the local contractor there, after that, I just kind of grew a little bit more, right? And then I was like, you know what? I really need to get my taxes in line, get my bookkeeping in line. And what did I do? I hired Prominence, right? I met with Cruz first, and Cruz was the bookkeeper of the whole group. And just having that understanding of where the cash flow was, where I was at every month, it helps, right? And then you understand that number, right? You understand your numbers and where you're at. And then you graduate and you get to meet Suhey, right? And then Suhey's over here telling you, hey, it's already June, and hey, this is what you're going to be paying at the end of the year. So now, as a business owner, you understand where you have to be in 6 months to pay that tax bill, right? Yes, we don't like to pay the taxes. We all wish we didn't have to pay taxes, but hey, we're in America. We have to pay somebody, right, to keep the country going and get us out of a deficit, it seems like.
No.
But
Well, it's more about, we talk about your goals, right? Your
Right.
purchasing power and stuff like that. So those are all discussions that we sit down and we have. And when we first met you, I know that you wanted to purchase your primary residence. You had these goals in line. So what would, some of the conversations we had to have was, well, you have to watch your financials because the lenders are not just going to lend anybody money if they don't qualify. So we had to create a team behind you that we would meet with to make sure that everything was lining up for him to acquire the primary residence or whatever other asset, equipment for his company, hiring people, right? So it's all about looking at the numbers, and is there room for the next step, the next move?
Correct. And like she said, it's about the team that we built, right? To be able to get to that primary residence, right? We're not just working with, just my taxes. We're talking about our real estate agent, our mortgage lender. We're working with even our bank, right? Making sure we're allocating our right funds to where we have to go to,
right,
with our credit cards and everything. And helping me get to that point was, it was kind of stressful because I was at the transition of
that's how he lost all his hair.
Yeah, being from self-employed into becoming a business owner. That whole transition was at that point, right? And yeah, that's where I lost my hair, right? But it was a great feeling after the fact, right? To be able to have that purchasing power, where I just didn't go to an H&R Block and say, hey, this is how much I made, and just plug and go, right? It was understanding the numbers and how they worked to my advantage to help me.
Would you say it was a learning experience that now your next purchase will be smoother? You understand how all the financials, what kind of part they play in that transaction?
Right, and it is a learning experience for sure. And I think until someone sits there and goes through it, they finally get the awakening within themselves and be like, oh man, like I really need to clean myself up.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people intermingle their books. Right. And that was one of my things. Right. Where personal and business kind of mixed in together a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And then now it's understanding, okay, this is the personal, the business is the business. Right. And that allows you to graduate and become something bigger. Right. Yeah. And it's allowed me to actually see and understand what, other CPAs hadn't explained to me before.
So you're a contractor. And typically when we meet with contractors, they're so stuck in working in their business. They don't have time to come see us. They don't have time to, have good documentation. A lot of the times they're just wrapped up in, the day-to-day work of being a contractor, especially when they have busy seasons and they've got to get projects in line. What makes you different? Why is it that you even made time to be here on this podcast? Why is it that you make time to network? Where did you learn that, or how do you find value in all of that?
So it's a loaded question right there,
yes.
But we can break it down a little bit, right? So what makes me a little bit different than everybody is just having the right team first off, right? We have our project managers, we have our superintendents, to our foremans, which are 3 levels of our management system. And through them, they run our jobs. They understand the schedule, they understand purchasing, they understand the communication on the field between city, our subcontractors. They understand that whole process. So on the field side, I'm not so worried about it because I have the right team there. When it comes to the back office stuff, again, I have my accounting, which is through Prominence. I have my attorneys, which are, I have 2 sets of attorneys. I have the right team behind me. And in order to grow, you have to build a team. Without having that team, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to get stuck in, oh man, I got to wake up at 5 a.m. to be able to go out there, swing a hammer. No, you pay somebody to do that, right? We pay somebody to watch over our books. We pay someone to read over our contracts. We pay someone to do our taxes. Mm-hmm. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not the smartest guy when it comes to certain things, but I hire the right team. I have the right members on board, right. And that allows me to grow. So where did I go from when I started to now? Like I said, I started in a little city of Diamond Bar, working within there in Brea. Now I'm in LA, down in San Diego, up north, and we're branching into other states now, right? So being able to bring in that team to help has helped me grow.
Right. Develop those processes, right?
Exactly.
So delegate. He's very good at delegating.
Very good. Very good. I get laughed at because, Suhei will tell me I will not hang up a picture frame. I'll call somebody to do it. Time is money, right?
Yes, that's what he always says. Time is money.
So that allows me to go out and network, like you were saying, right? Like if I spend time to fix something at my house, that's just time I'm not spending on the business to grow it, right?
Right.
And so networking to me is a huge thing. And, it's not about me selling Avic or any other service. It's just me being there so that they have access to me, right? Allowing to build that relationship. Coaching is another thing, right? I have a coach that guides me on a biweekly basis, like, hey, this is what the next move is. They see things that I can't see in myself, right? And they open up my mind, they open up my vision, basically, to get to where I want to get to.
I really do want to talk a little bit about that. We have a business coach. We've had a business coach every year since we pretty much opened Prominence. And the growth has just been amazing. People get amazed at how quickly we grew the business. But it wasn't that we quickly grew the business. It was just we started off with the right foot. And what I mean by that is I have over 20 years of tax experience working with others, for others, and I would get to see their mistakes, what I shouldn't do, and things like that. But when you open your business and you start working for yourself, you're so wrapped up in it that you're not seeing the outside picture again. I would see it for others. Why? Because I wasn't the one running the business, right? I wasn't the owner.
Right.
But when I became the owner, I needed someone to remind me or tell me of things that were happening the outside perspective. And so a business coach has become such an important role in our business to keep us motivated, keep us in line, keep us accountable, all those good things. And I know that you have a business coach, and not many business owners find value in that. I don't think it's something that's been that's really talked about. So tell me, what made you, get this business coach, or would you say that it's not worth the value? There's no value there.
Well, I think people don't understand the value of a business coach, right? People think, oh, it's just another expense at that point. And to have a business coach, though, it's been an eye opener, like I said, right? Because we see something we want to get to, right? And in order to get there, we have to kind of make ourselves uncomfortable to get there.
True.
Right? And without feeling that uncomfortableness, we're basically just in our comfort zone, and we're not going to break that shell. Mm-hmm. So my coach is really the type that, and I tell them, hey, I need you to punch me in the gut to get me to that spot, right? Mm-hmm. And without that, like, I won't push myself, right? I won't want to grow. Mm-hmm. And the value that I find behind it is just, it's your accountability partner that you're paying for, right? And because when you have skin in the game, it has to motivate you to get to that next step. And the value is there for sure. And, I think for us men, it's a little bit more difficult to ask for help, right? And you can attest to that one, that, I am the type of person that, or I was the type of person that wouldn't ask for help. I'll figure it out on my own, just let me be, right? But it's okay, right? I learned to accept help, right? And it's a help that, a business coach will help you in your business, but how we do one thing in one area of our life is how we do the other. So your business gets reflected on your personal, right? Your personal reflects into your business. So your business coach kind of is that bridge to help bring the two together and be able to and bring that better self that you have within you out.
No, I love that. I think that's very true. I know that you jumped right into the business things. Tell us a little bit about your personal side. For example, tell me a little bit about how you got started in construction. And I just said I was 20 years, have 20 years of experience, saw what others did in the business while I was, their employee, and then when I stepped out. So give me a little bit about that background. When you started off to be, Avica Construction, did you have prior experience of what you wanted to do and what you didn't want to do?
So people will tell you that I was born with this beard and with the sledgehammer in my hand, right? I'm just joking. So I come from a family that has always been hardworking. They've always provided for themselves. My grandpa was a bus driver down in Mexico and would drive back and forth. My grandma and her brother were, they owned a few dental offices here in Southern California. And then my uncle graduated from Cal Poly with civil engineering, and later came and became his own contractor, became his own company. Very well known here in Southern California as well. And he kind of took me under his wing since I was a kid, right? And my uncle, I mean, I'm forever grateful for that, right? He guided me, right? He was my, or he still is, I should say, like, you know, he still is my top father figure, right? And I was there with him while he was at Cal Poly, like just in his room while he was studying things and everything. And, you know, he taught me how to read blueprints at 8 years old. Like,
so what's the age difference?
You know, I was 8 years old when he was going through Cal Poly, right? And, you know, it was just a great feeling, right, to have that opportunity of someone to be my mentor, right? Without knowing that's what he was. Right. And, you know, as I got older, you know, he was still working for somebody else. And I would go to his job sites, right? He was building Edwards Cinemas, multifamily units. And, you know, he would take me, you know, he'd pick me up and like, hey, let's go. And that was one of my, like, that is what actually got me into construction. As he opened up his company, I had the opportunity to go work with them. And that was just another eye-opener for me, because now it was me being in the field working, right? And I did some labor work, you know. I had to learn it, right? And that's the best way he told me. He goes, you're not going to learn unless you do it. So here I was doing some of the work. And, you know,
so you've actually used a real hammer before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually had callus on my hands before.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. But, you know, going through that, and so after learning a lot of the field stuff, he goes, hey, like, I want you to learn now the management side of it. So what do? He makes me his project superintendent in a job that we were doing in Pasadena. And his superintendent's assistant, sorry. That's what I became. So I was running the inspections, I was running the crews, I was, you know, scheduling, material-wise, ordering materials, you know, dealing with the subcontractors, everything like that. And, you know, sooner or later, a few years go down the line, and he's like, hey, how would you like to run your own job? And I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, you know, I've pretty much been doing this, you know, for this other superintendent. I don't mind doing my own job with you. So here we go, right? So we knock out these jobs left and right. And then he's like, look, I need you to, like, I really want you to understand even more. So what does he have me do? Now he has me doing estimating, qualifying bids, working on schedules. I mean, now we're getting to the gritty stuff of what it comes down to that I do till this day, right? I don't want to lose what I learned, right? So I continue using all those teachings in my business. And it allows me to teach my guys too the same thing. Because the more they know, the better off we'll be. And if they're doing better, it makes Avica look better. And in turn, it gives us the opportunity to show our clients what we're capable of and what we can do. And it gives our clients satisfaction at the end of the day and repeat business.
That's awesome. Share with us some of your goals as far as, you know, where do you see Avica going? Or do you ever plan on maybe, I mean, you mentioned your uncle as being some sort of a mentor to you. You have a business coach. Do you think that, you know, maybe you would coach other contractors or teach them, you know, show them how you've been able to graduate over to being a business owner and how you are paving that way?
So we talk about goals, right? We always have our short-term goals and our long-term goals, you know, and I always look at the bigger picture of things. So my long-term goal is to retire in 10 years. You know, like, and not meaning like retire where I just drop everything and leave, but it's to be able to live a life where I don't have to show up, right? It's there working itself. Now you've graduated from being the business owner into the investor side, and that's where I want to be, right? Is in that quadrant. But and you said like coaching, right? And that's one of my things is I would love to coach people to have them understand how to get from the employee to the self-employed to the business owner to the investor side, right?
Awesome.
And it takes time. So again, for us guys, it's harder for us to hire somebody to tell us our, I'll say it frankly, bullshit, right? Because we create our own bullshit in our own heads, right? We create what we call the itty bitty shitty committee, where we don't think we're capable of doing these things, right? And we're comfortable in our little shell.
Yeah.
So I would love to be able to give that opportunity to somebody who didn't have a mentor, right? They don't have the guidance to get to a bigger scale.
Right.
Right? Some guys are a 3-man shop running around, California trying to just redo bathrooms, right? Well, what happens if you can go from being a bathroom remodeler to a house remodeler, right? And if you want to go from a house remodeler to being a home builder, right? There's steps that you can take. But how do you do it, right? They don't know. So I would love to be able to coach these individuals. Right.
That's awesome. Well, that's an amazing goal. I know I've heard you talk about, things like that, and I wanted you to share with our audience. I want to really thank you for being here. Is there any last words you want to tell our audience or you want to share with us before we wrap up?
All I can tell people is, always believe in what you do, right? Have the confidence in yourself to get out there, promote yourself, and just be you, because that is what someone's going to look at more than anything, is just be yourself,
True.
And just enjoy life, because we have just literally one life to live.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your story and everything that you do. Your growth is something that I admire. Even though I do tease you, because you're not the typical contractor who shows up to the office, and with the hammer dirty or anything. I'm like, it looks like you don't work. And you're like, well, that's why you have people. So when you started sharing that with me, I thought it'd be great to share with our clients, our audience, so that they know that there is a way to work on your business and not just in it. So
you can find us on Instagram at Avica Construction. That's AVICA Construction. And, follow us, give us a like, repost us.
Thank y'all for being here. We'll see you on the next episode. You can follow us at prominence.services on Instagram, and then our website is prominence.business.com.